somewhere in the sand. On the other side of a dune. Where its ravine casts a dramatic shadow. I then find myself looking to make a sand castle. But I'm too busy looking up at the stars above me. Though it's still day, it's dark enough on the other side of this dune for me to see out off into the distance. And then I look down at my sandcastle and I think to myself, this sand is so mobile. And as I look up at the stars, I think that they reside in permanence. But then features of the light begin to peek over the crest of the dune, and I see specks of light begin to appear on the opposite face of the dune before me. And as the light hits these specks of sand, they begin to shine. And hitting them just right, gives them the perception of being a star in the night sky. And then I look down at my sandcastle and know that it won't last. And then I look up at the stars in the sky and I think about that sand that, as the light began to come across its face, was as if it was a star in the sky. And then I think, where is their permanence then? Even those things that I hold so true above me, are they simply like this sandcastle on the opposite side of a dune, only waiting for the light to come to then show them as sand? Then I think, what am I then to all those lights? And is there this ever constant changing position of shifting and permanence between what perceives things as a permanence and what permanence then perceives things as shifting? And I think of the words practical, wherein lies the term master. Otherwise, if one cannot rely upon its function, is it not a competing master? If it's something that is within your perception, captivating, then I think of that space further. And how, when looked upon, it is seen to be so vast. But I feel as though it is all held within a single little microbe. That as these shifting perceptions of permanence move things, where then space is a shifting of this vibration, now being captured. What then is this sand castle that I'm building? And then do these interactions take on personalities within someone's own perceptions of practical aspects? My brother comes along and says, Well, that was a lot of work for nothing. As the hole that I dug gets filled in as he walks by and subtly entices my vision to become aware of his presence by ever so slightly encroaching upon the point of where his pressure would cause a collapse of the walls that held things from being filled. Where then upon its being so is then a point of then the whole itself being once a thing of what was for an amount of time, where then I become the shifting thing, and then stepping out of its crater, move through other things of a permanence that were there for how long they were, where then this sound that I speak into this microbe is then sent through this space. Where its ability to create reason enough for one to house themselves in a space what allows enough of this permanence and shifting for a thing to feel it appropriate to speak to itself. What then, upon its doing, is then its connection with then these other points of permanence and shifting aspects and natures of things, where then according to how my brother came upon me, where then these aspects of perception move them into then the shifting sands of the skies. And I lay down far below and look up and I see flying fish, and then from the side a giant orca, and then this paper that floats in the wind and crinkles like tinder between the fingers, and pots of gold that walk around. Where then these aspects of shifting and permanence are relayed through all things and aspects of things, where then one's interaction with objects themselves then creates these sand castles in the shade of a dune. Until then, the light fills the sky and they can no longer see the stars. And then, as the light washes over them, are they then not like one of those specks in the sand, then becoming a light of permanence, where then their movement is then this vibration, what then creates the night sky to come across the horizon once more, where then they are as these shifting things, where though they call themselves what is to be shifting when they are held up in permanence before what is in the shade of a dune.